Hi everybody and welcome to your daily tarot reading. This is for Sunday the 26th of February. I want to use the Sacred India Tarot, which I really love this deck. The problem is that I don't really do it justice because I don't know all the myths. I know a little bit, but not. So if you're an expert in this field, look how beautiful the cards are though. They're just so pretty. Please let me know in the comments. Okay, so I'm just going to shuffle these a few times and then I'm going to choose 3 cards here to see what the tarot has to say about Sunday and what energy you'll be working with. Okay, so first we've got the 2 of staves. That's an adventure you're embarking on. Then we've got the moon. That's a fear of the unknown and using your intuition to navigate. And then the 10 of staves, which is the 10 of wands, which can feel like a burden. And there's too much on your plate. Okay, so interesting. So we've got the desire to go on a new adventure, to see what's out there in the world, to explore and discover. At the same time, we've got a sense of heaviness in terms of existing circumstances and really a fear of what to do. Do I tend to everything that needs to be taken care of, or do I drop it all and create a doorway for myself and gallop on through that? Or do I do both? So I think there may be a bit of restlessness and indecision on this day. You may feel like, oh, I'm really having to question myself here and use my intuition to kind of see what I want to be doing. So I don't think the energy is super quiet and straightforward. I think you're going to feel somewhat conflicted. We've got both of these are staves, so that's fire. And the moon I always associate very much with water. So water and fire, I mean, they don't really get on that well. I mean, they can do, but heat the water too much and it evaporates. And if you take, an ocean here and it sweeps up the fire, there's not going to be much left of that either. So I think with these 2 elements, it's about moderation and finding some sort of balance. And with the moon being at the center, I think using a spiritual practice, meditation, whatever you feel connects you most easily and most effectively, that's, I think, the way to get rid of any irritability or indecision or feeling overwhelmed. Okay, so we've got the 2 of staves and here we've got this seaside kind of scene. We've got the 2 staves creating a doorway. So usually the 2 of wands is someone who holds the world in the palm of their hand and they're looking out to sea. So it's like, I'm taking charge of my life. The world is my oyster. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? I have this inner fire and I want to express that somehow. But here it looks more like a mass exodus that's kind of being ordained by this figure up in the clouds. And we've got a soldier kind of making that happen or keeping the peace or something. So this is more like it reminds me more of the Judgment card. It's like this divine calling that says, hey, wake up. This is what you're supposed to be doing. So it's interesting because that puts a different kind of spin on this in a way, because it's going to feel like you're doing the will of the divine by moving forward and looking to the future and not tending to all the things that need to be done. So to me, that's a little suspicious. So I think it's going to be a bit of both. Certain things that could potentially slip through the cracks that are important to look at and to move forward, but to kind of do a bit of both and not one or the other exclusively. Next, we've got the moon. Usually the moon is depicted as this angry kind of face in the moon at the top. Then it's got, at the front of the card, there's like a pond and this kind of crustacean emerges from the pond. It's then surrounded by wolves or coyotes, and then there are these big imposing towers. And in the middle of all this, there's a path that moves forward. So the moon is very much about the big, scary, lonely journey in life that you have to go through, where you don't have a guidebook, you don't have a flashlight, and things seem to loom very largely and be intimidating. And it's a difficult moment. It's a difficult part of your journey. Walking around during the daytime is far less intimidating. And at nighttime, you're meant to be or you're forced to be hypervigilant and to use all of your senses. So that's the good thing about the moon, that you are able to use all your senses and that you get a lot of messages intuitively, and that it brings you much closer to your guides, your angels, your ancestors. And in this case, it looks like an animal guide. So now we've got a sense of, okay, I am being called to move ahead in some new area, and then we've got fear around it. That to me validates that this is something to pursue, because usually the things we do, the things that do bring up fear are worth doing. The things that we're completely apathetic about, I mean, who cares? So if there's an idea for some sort of new venture or to move in a different direction and you have fear come up, don't immediately dismiss that as a bad idea. It may in fact actually be something very important to pursue. And then here we've got these, it's like sacred geometry. And that says that there's a bigger pattern and a bigger picture at work here. And it's important that you listen to the signs that you're getting along the way. You are kind of being pulled in a particular direction, and you can really understand the process and potentially even glimpse the future by paying attention to the symbols you encounter along the way. Finally, the 10 of staves. That's usually someone who's carrying a bunch of sticks and who's overly burdened by it. Here we've got this kind of warrior type sitting and resting, and he's carrying these things quite easily. He doesn't look overly distressed by the weight of them, but he is sitting down. He's not in the middle of a sprint or anything. And then at the bottom, we've got this female figure, and she's in the earth. You see, this is why I don't know the mythology. So it looks like she's a goddess, and he's kind of a warrior that's being nurtured and supported by her. I mean, it's literally the ground he's walking on. So it's like the world is supporting him and giving him strength. His life is giving him strength. See all this orange and red? So all this warmth is being received. So you can manage things, but you certainly have the strength to pursue something new and to carry these things with you. You're like superpowered in terms of what you can carry. You're very, very, very resilient. And you know, all this warmth, and it to me, it's like you're being divinely pulled as such, because you're being led towards something good and positive. And that whole process gives you strength and encourages you and allows you to kind of lift what you usually cannot lift. So I would do as much as I possibly can on this day in terms of getting things organized and looking to the future and letting my feelings guide me, and really just approaching the day with a sense of busyness and pace and filling it with as much as possible, and seeing where you feel the pull, you know, where your interests lead you the most. Pay real attention to that and the symbols you encounter, because there's something really otherworldly involved here. Like something is taking an interest that's saying, come in this direction, it's going to work out nicely for you. And it'll feel nice as you go. Number-wise, we've got the 2 of staves. So 2 and 18 is 20, and another 10 is 30. 30 reduces to 3 in numerology, and that's really like the decider now between do I maintain or do I innovate. 3 in numerology is communication and new beginnings. So it's heavily leaning towards the new beginnings as being super important, and you having the strength to carry what you need and to load on even more by pursuing something new on top of everything else you're doing. Yeah, so the cards are really encouraging to kind of really bite off as much as you can because you can't chew it all, basically. You're not going to be overwhelmed on this day. So I hope you have a wonderful time. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share the video online. Have a wonderful day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.